This is about defending democracy. This is no longer Democrats versus Republicans. What do you want your kids to believe in? There must be give and take.
This is White Flag with Joe Walsh.
A reminder that as a free, responsible citizen in a democracy, there are going to be court rulings, Supreme Court rulings that we don't like, that we don't agree with. There are going to be election results that we don't like, that don't go our way. But as free, responsible citizens, when the Supreme Court rules in a way that doesn't go our way, we don't scream rigged, illegitimate court. We accept the ruling. We respect the rule of law, and we move on and fight for what we believe in. Just like when an election result does not go our way. We don't scream rigged, stolen. We accept the election result. We accept the will of the people, and we try to win the next election. This is what free, mature, responsible people do in a democracy. We do not scream stolen, rigged when an election does not go our way. The Supreme Court yesterday overturned Colorado's effort to keep Trump off the ballot. I disagreed with the ruling. I was part of an amicus brief in front of the Supreme Court with 10 or 11 other former Republican members of Congress, making the case that Donald Trump committed insurrection. He should not be allowed to be on a ballot. The ruling came down yesterday. It's not the ruling I wanted. I disagreed with the ruling. But I respect and, most importantly, accept the Supreme Court ruling. The highest court in the land. And I'll move on. I respect the rule of law. I'll move on. And I'll continue to fight now with everything I have to make sure Trump doesn't win in November, because I believe Donald Trump is an insurrectionist. But the point is, we are a nation of laws, and we are a nation where every 2 years we all come together to fight for our candidates and to vote for our candidates. And our candidates may win and our candidates may lose. But we accept the will of the people. We accept the election results, whether our candidate wins or loses. The same goes with what the Supreme Court rules, with what the Supreme Court ruled yesterday. You disagree, you can't stand the court. You know, Kavanaugh and Barrett and Alito and all the rest, they're all handpicked, they're all protecting Trump, blah, 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 whatever you think it is. You can, and what I'm saying is, you can be upset with what the Supreme Court did. You can believe that the Supreme Court is in the tank for Trump. I don't. You can believe that. The point is, we accept their ruling. The highest court in the land has ruled. We accept the ruling. You can bitch about it, you can moan about it, whatever, but we accept the ruling. Because if we don't, if a people says, no, I'm just going to ignore what the Supreme Court said, if elected officials said, we will ignore what the Supreme Court said, then we're no longer a nation of laws. And then we break down. And oh, by the way, MAGA, the same goes for election results you don't like. If we as a people do not accept who won and who lost an election, our democracy breaks down. Our democracy ends. Your candidate didn't win? Oh man, you can bitch and moan about that all you want. You can believe it was rigged. And by the way, when it comes to an election result, you've got recourse. You've got the courts, right? If you feel like an election was rigged or stolen, there is a process, again, with the courts to adjudicate whether an election was rigged or stolen. And you have a right to go through that whole process. But then when you go through that whole process and the election result still stands, a free, responsible people accepts that election result. And if we don't, our democracy is over. Donald Trump still says the 2020 election result is stolen. He's incapable of putting his country first. Don't you be like Trump. If you're like Trump, if enough people are like Trump and can't accept the will of the people, this democracy ends. The Supreme Court has spoken. We accept the ruling, even if we're unhappy with it. The election came and went. We accept the results, even if the results didn't go our way. We live to fight another day, and we run again. We try to win the next election. We try to win an election and change the makeup of the court. That's what a free, responsible people does. I'm Joe Walsh. Joe Walsh, whiteflag@gmail.com. Joe Walsh, whiteflag, one word, @gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Be brave.
Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, share, and follow White Flag with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review. This has been White Flag with Joe Walsh.